Hey everyone. It is that time of year again where we need to discuss the budget. And I appreciate everyone's contributions on thoughts around the budget. We've worked together as trustees to try and plan the best foot forward and figure out the next step in the next year, what it looks like financially. And I will share that with you, and I'll try and walk you through it quickly. We will discuss it more on at the coffee catch up. So if you want more discussion, come to the coffee catch up. We'll also talk more about what we talked about last time at that coffee catch up. We won't vote on the budget. We will vote on the budget at the AGM. So we will. I've given you some projected numbers of what I think the final numbers will look like for the year. We will actually get the numbers, update the budget, and then vote on it at the AGM. But we really want to get a good sense of what people are thinking, how they feel about it from this particular coffee catch up. So there won't be an official vote or anything. But this video, I'm trying to kind of outline it and then lay out kind of a little bit of the reasoning for the next year's budget. So just to kind of let you know the general priority for next year's budget is really trying to be conservative as we finalize and finish kind of rebuilding our financial foundation. So we've spent a lot of time, we put a lot of energy this year into saving to repay the contributory mortgage. And we've got to do one more year of that. We're trying to pay back around $160,000 in 2 years. So we've been saving almost $6,500 a month this year towards it. And next year we'll do about $5,500. We're hitting our goals, which is really good. But we need to finish that. The second thing we want to work on is start working on the building. And we'll discuss this more on Sunday, the 30th. But we as trustees, we really believe until the Lord shows us something more, we need to stay here and we need to start working on it. But we are going to start working on it as we have the money. We're not going to take any drastic steps until we have to. So we'll let the Lord determine how long the roof lasts, but we will be prepared and know what we need to do in order to get that done. And then we will start working on things, other priorities, in order to get that done. And I'll explain that in the budget. Then we want to continue to care for the community that exists and the grounds as they exist. So taking care of the gardens and the new beauty that has come there, and continuing to care for the other buildings, and then setting aside the money for the church operation to continue much as it has over the past year, and continue to care for this community well. And then we've got to account for general increases that are happening as things get more expensive. So you'll see those themes playing out across the budget. But as we get going, what I want to do is share with you the link that you will receive with this video. So I will start the broadcast and then I will pull up the link. So here we are. So this file, you can look at the two tabs down at the bottom. I'll try and walk you through them. This is last year's budget, or the current year's budget, and we from July 2023 to June 2024. And you can see we started the year with $101,842, and we had the allocations that you see there. And float means it's unallocated. It's able to be used for whatever is needed. And so I'll green, what things I've highlighted in green are generally positive. Yellow is just something to watch, but it's not really negative. And then red would be negative. And just a spoiler, we have no red, so that's good. A positive thing is you can see here the rents received were higher than expected. We project that there'll be about about, what is that, $16,000 higher than what we thought we would get, and that's because we raised the rent earlier, which was a great move, and glad the former trustees decided to do that, and so that's helped out this year. Something that we should pay attention to is the repair and maintenance for the rentals was more than expected. Most of that comes with 79, the work on my place. We spent more than we planned on that, but that's just, we had to get it done, and it was a very tight turnaround, and so we got that done. It looks great. It's working well. But it cost us more. And then we have gone ahead because we are trying to definitely continue to be faithful landlords, and provide a really good rental experience. We have gone ahead and worked on things inside the rentals that may not have been absolutely necessary, but were definitely helpful. And I would say the overall transition around the rentals, moving up the rent, has been really good. All of the tenants have stayed. Everybody is being able to pay their rent. And I think we are making improvements that are important, and I think they're appreciating that. So I think that relationship continues to be strong, even though it's changed a little bit. So we needed to spend that money, and we feel good about going over there, but it was over. So I just draw your attention to it. And just in case I hadn't explained it, what you have in these lines, column B, is the budget. Then we have the 10-month figures, which is the most recent financial figures that the accountant has agreed are correct. Then we have what I project to be the final, based off of kind of what we've spent each month and some expenses that I know about. So we will get the actual final numbers at the pretty much around August. And then before the AGM, which is in the end of September, you will know about any things that are different than what I've projected. So the projected final is what we're working with to give us an idea, but it is not 100% accurate. All right, then I will bring us down to look at, you can look, we received some more money in this year for the contributory mortgage, and you can see down here the green that we paid off some of the contributory mortgage. So one of the groups who loaned us money, they needed it back. And so that was part of the original agreement. It worked out fine. We were able to pay them, which was a lot of the intent of it. So it's been working well. So that reduces what we owe at the end of July next year. So we owe 10,270 less, and that's good. And you can see for the rest of it that we are coming in below budget. So an area that I will point out is this green right here, the 14,000. That's what we expect for repair and maintenance. That includes the garden work. So the garden work was done very cheaply and very beautifully. So well done, Murray and Alex and Peter. Thank you for all the work on that. We've been able to do some additional repairs on the shed back there to store materials and bring electricity there. And we've also been able to repair a few other things with the electricity that we needed to do. So we're gonna come in well under budget. And if you look at the rest of pretty much the church budget, the staff budget, we've come in pretty much under on every front. And that's because we were trying, we recognize we are in a transition year. The finances are a little tight, and they will be next year as well. So we're trying to care for the community, but being responsible with it. So you can see the total church expenses. We budgeted 214,000, and we came in at 200, or we think we'll come in around 202,000, which means that our net profit, the money left over at the end of the year, is higher than what we anticipated, what we budgeted, which is good. And then you come down here, you see we think we'll end with around 175,000. We haven't really touched much of the allocation, so they remain roughly the same. The only thing that's different from the beginning was that we've saved 90,000 165 that sits in our account, and we were supposed to save 100,000, but we paid back 10,000 of it. So we really hit our number, and even got a little higher, which is nice. So that's what we expect the final to look like. And you can click on the link and review this. And then you will come down to the bottom left again and click over to the other tab. And this includes all of the information that I just gave you, but it also includes the budget. So up here, you can see I took the number from the projected final, and we think we'll start July 1st with around 175,000 with the same allocation that I just showed you a second ago. What I'll point out to you, the budget is very similar. It holds pretty much the same priorities, but we're gonna finish paying off the contributory mortgage, and once that's done, we will have between 5,000 and 7,000 a month that we can spend on repairs, growth, staff, programs, etc. So we look forward to the end of this year, because then we will be more free to engage in ways that we have not been doing out of what we would say are fiscally responsible ways of moving. All right, so you'll see this year that the rent will go up even more, because we'll have a whole year at what you might say is market rate. We expect Robin to continue to do an awesome job renting out the holiday accommodation. So continuing to do that. The major things you might see are a increase. There's probably it was an $8,000 increase in rates across all of the properties that we're paying for. So that's a significant increase, and we need to account for that. So that again is going to make us a bit more conservative. We are actually expecting to spend less money on the repairs of the rentals. We're anticipating around 35,000 to 40,000 in just kind of incidental repairs that come up. And then we are expecting to do work on one of the bathrooms in the unit, and that will be somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000. So 45,000 seems to be an adequate amount. If you just take incidentals from this past year, we only spent about 30,000. So it feels about right. And we'll see when the final comes in. We may need to adjust this a little bit, but that's the thought at the current moment. You'll see that on a lot of the income, we don't have as much contributory mortgage coming in. I try to, you might say, plan for less income than we actually expect, and then plan for slightly more expenses. So you'll see that the interest income is less. I'm expecting the tithes and offerings to be a little bit less, but honestly, the tithes and offerings have not changed much since I've been here. Y'all are very consistent givers. I'm very appreciative of that. And then the church budget is relatively the same. The only place where you'll see there's a cup, this yellow piece, insurance is probably going to go up. We are in the process of getting an updated quote. We renew in August. So we are working on that, and we'll get more figures as we get closer to that time. And then you can see down here for repairs and maintenance, we are budgeting $13,000 for kind of the continual grounds maintenance. Murray's leading that group, and so he's hired Peter to be the groundskeeper. And so we're planning to have that for Peter, some supplies, and then additional money in case additional things are needed. And then you'll see here we're planning to start the building, to repair the building. We want to start with the leaking foyer wall, and really go there, work on the gutters on the side facing the connected units. And then we might look at repainting the side that faces 77 and 79, and looking into those things. So you can see it's listed what the priorities are. If the roof needs to be repaired during this time, we probably don't have enough money to do it, but we would look at and be prepared to sell 77 if that happens. But there's some reason to hope that the roof will continue to be fine. So we'll just trust the Lord in that. and then begin to really look at that the next year as a real possibility, because we will be able to save money towards it much faster once the contributory mortgage is done. And those are, you can see other comments that I've made, and feel free to examine those. But our general plan is to end the year with around 190,000. 160,000 of that will go to back to pay off the contributory mortgage. So and we may be a little bit, we're planning a little bit under, because we want to continue to give, the focus has got to be on the community that is here right now, really growing and caring for each other. And we'll talk more about this on the 30th. And then once we begin to have the finances, we can begin to look at either more repair, but we're really looking at solidifying the foundations, is how I would say it, both internally as a community with our buildings and financially. If we can do one more year of solidifying, then we can really begin to look at what's possible beyond. So this is probably the tighter year, actually. As you can see, that we won't have much float left. But as soon as we pay off the contributory mortgage, our ability to save will escalate significantly, and it will improve our overall financial position. So that is where we are, and that's the proposed budget. And if you have questions, please come and bring them up to me or to the trustees, or bring them to the coffee catch-up, and we will discuss them there. And we'll also talk, like I said, a little bit more about the building and other thoughts that we discussed last time. So thankful for you all, an honor to walk with you all. And I continue to appreciate and grow from iron sharpening iron, as we are bringing ideas together and trying to trust the Lord with each step forward. So thank you all for that. And I'll look forward to being with you soon.